He made $600,000 teaching people how to trade before he ever learned how to trade himself. Welcome to Forex Success Story, the podcast where we talk about the real grind, the blown accounts, the sleepless nights, the rock-bottom moments, and the rare redemptions that come only to those who earn them. And today, we're telling a story of a man who built an empire on bluff until the market called his hand. Chapter 1. Viral but hollow. Nobody plans to become a fraud, not really. Most people just take one shortcut, then another, and then another, until they're too far in to walk back. Troy Delgado didn't set out to lie, but one filtered screenshot, one borrowed car, and one cleverly worded caption turned him into something he wasn't and had no idea how to be. He wasn't a trader, he was a brand. And at first, that brand was working. It was the summer of 2017 in Miami. The beaches were packed, the clubs were booming, and the Instagram algorithm was still handing out gold to anyone flashy enough to play the part. Troy had just turned 25. He'd grown up in a middle-class Cuban-American household, smooth-talking his way through college classes he never really cared about. He sold sneakers on Facebook Marketplace, did affiliate deals for gym supplements. He knew how to speak internet, fast, loud, and with perfect lighting. Then one day, a friend showed him a screenshot of MetaTrader 4. Blue and red bars, huge green profit numbers, a line chart that looked like it was climbing to the moon. "What's that?" Troy asked. "Forex," his friend replied. "You trade currencies. Make money on your phone. Bro, it's wild." Troy didn't understand a word of it, but he saw numbers, big ones. He saw potential, and more importantly, he saw content. That night, he downloaded the MetaTrader app. It looked like a spaceship dashboard to him, but he didn't care. He wasn't here to learn it, he was here to market it. So he hired a guy on Fiverr to mock up a screenshot that said, plus $12,243.85. He wrote a caption, "Another day, another bag. Don't wait to start." Posted it. Woke up to 2,000 new followers and a dozen DMs asking, "How can I learn from you?" He didn't even have a broker account yet. But Troy understood one thing most people didn't. Perception is product. He ordered a ring light, hired a photographer, took a trip to Brickell and rented a luxury apartment for 2 hours just to film a few clips of him on a MacBook nodding like he was analyzing something. He wasn't. He had YouTube pulled up on one tab and a fake trading screen on the other. The video went semi-viral. Young Miami trader turns 200 into 20,000. The irony? Troy didn't even know what a pip was. But people didn't care. His jawline was sharp, his captions were fire, his feet had a white and gold aesthetic, and most importantly, he gave them hope. Not hope in trading, but hope in lifestyle. That it could be done, that someone like them had done it. And Troy leaned in hard. He rented a white Audi R8 for $1,800, filmed a whole week's worth of lifestyle content, walking away from the car while on the phone, turning the key in slow-mo, checking his imaginary trades in the driver's seat. He chopped it up into 60-second reels, spread them out over months, made it look like it was his car, captioned them with phrases like, "Be the wolf, not the sheep." "They laughed when I said I trade, they beg now." Forex paid for this. And it worked. By fall of 2018, Troy had 15,000 followers. By spring 2019, he had 80,000. He launched a Telegram signal group, $59 a month. He sold a course, $497, mostly recycled YouTube content. He opened a mentorship tier, $2,000. Total income that year, over $600,000. He bought a BMW M4, moved into a high-rise studio downtown, hired a virtual assistant to manage his DMs. He was living the dream, or at least pretending to. But inside, he was drowning. Because there was one thing Troy still hadn't done: trade. Not seriously, not with real size, not with a plan. He had a live account, yes, but it was tiny, barely funded. He'd open random trades during news spikes, hoping to catch a lucky breakout he could screenshot for Instagram. He didn't journal, didn't backtest, didn't study, didn't stop. And every time he looked at his MT4 balance, 800, 643, 312, he felt that cold lump in his chest. Because the whole empire he'd built was sitting on a foundation of nothing. And deep down, he knew it. He was making money, sure, but not from trading, from pretending to trade. And every new follower, every new sale, every new DM saying, "You changed my life," just twisted the knife deeper. Because he hadn't changed anyone's life. He was just really, really good at marketing. But marketing doesn't care about marketing, and one day soon, they'd expose everything. He just didn't know it yet.
Chapter 2. The Business of Pretending. Troy wasn't lying outright, not in the legal sense, not in the way you'd take to court. He never said the Audi R8 was his, he just never said it wasn't. He never said his 12K profit screenshot came from a real trade, he just never said it didn't. He never claimed to be a consistently profitable trader. He let the charts, the luxury, the fast cuts and filters say it for him. He called it curated ambition. And for a while, it worked better than even he expected. By 2019, Troy had built a full-blown brand out of nothing but Canva templates, well-lit selfies, and a basic understanding of dopamine. He knew exactly what his audience wanted. Fast money, big energy, fake certainty. They didn't want risk management. They wanted confidence with a six-pack. He gave them that. His landing pages were loaded with promises like, "Learn the secrets the banks don't want you to know." "Turn your phone into a money printer." "No experience needed, just hustle." He called his trading group Pip Predators. He posted testimonials that he never verified. Screenshots of wins he didn't take. Webinars where he screen shared demo trades with bold claims like, "That's a quick $1,700, guys. That's lunch money. That's what you can do once you master the blueprint." The blueprint didn't exist. He ran 3 WhatsApp groups for his top-tier mentees, often copy-pasting analysis from free forums and acting like it was his own. He even faked losses sometimes to appear transparent, but always ended those posts with, "But this is why risk management is key. Stay in the game. Tomorrow's another bag." It was a content machine, every move choreographed. And it made money. A lot of it. In 2019 alone, Troy pulled in $236,000 from the Signal Group, with 4,000 subscribers at peak. $312,000 from his trading course and mentorship programs. Some $70,000 from brand partnerships and affiliate links. He paid off credit cards, upgraded apartments, flew to Dubai to film drone shots of himself overlooking the skyline. But all of it, every cent, came from people who thought he was something he wasn't. And the more successful the lie became, the more trapped Troy felt. Because with every new follower came more pressure to maintain the image. He couldn't ask real questions anymore, couldn't admit confusion, couldn't say, "I don't know what to do with GBP/JPY right now." His audience expected alpha. They expected the man with the answers. So he faked more, posted more, sold more, and traded less. In fact, the further he climbed as a trading guru, the less he actually traded. He still had a live account, but it was mostly used for screenshots. He'd open a position on NFP day with max leverage, praying for a spike he could freeze frame. If it worked, it was content. If it didn't, he'd just close it fast and never mention it. He avoided trading altogether during quiet sessions, too boring to post about. He never journaled, didn't track stats, didn't have a strategy, unless vibe and screenshot counts as one. His entire existence revolved around looking like a trader, not being one. It began to eat at him. There were nights he'd lie awake in his apartment, looking at the city lights through his floor-to-ceiling windows, wondering how long he could keep this going. His expenses were rising, his audience was getting smarter, and he was barely scraping by on a personal level. Behind the scenes, he was 3 months behind on rent. He owed $6,000 in Stripe chargebacks from refund requests. His credit cards were maxed out from lifestyle content shoots. His brokerage account had a balance of $311. He was exhausted. Every day felt like a performance. Every post was a bluff. Every sale carried the weight of guilt he didn't know how to process. But he couldn't stop. Because what was he if not this? If he stopped pretending, what was left? The idea of walking away terrified him more than the fraud itself. He told himself he'd figure it out later, that maybe, just maybe, he'd learn to really trade someday, that he'd earn it in reverse, play the part first, grow into it later. But markets don't reward intentions. They reward preparation, consistency, brutal honesty. And Troy had none of those things. Which is why, when the curtain finally dropped, it dropped hard. And it happened in the most public, humiliating way possible.
Chapter 3. The Collapse. It happened on a Thursday. A routine live stream, nothing special. Troy had done dozens of them before. The title was Clickbait Perfection. Live 10K scalping session, watch me eat. Over 800 people tuned in. He opened with charisma, as always, flashy overlays, pump-up music, a green screen background of some apartment in Marina Bay, even though he was back in Miami, sitting in front of a plain white wall. He spoke confidently, almost casually. Let's see what EU's doing. Might be some easy pips here. He pulled up MetaTrader, and that's when it happened. For a split second, less than a second, he clicked the wrong tab. Instead of the demo account he usually showcased, he opened his real trading account. The numbers on the bottom right corner weren't what anyone expected. Balance, $143.87. Equity, $138.02. Margin level, 240%. Open positions, minus $4.89. In that single flash, the truth escaped. The comments froze for a moment. Then they exploded. Wait, is that his real account? Bro, he only has $143? Lol, caught red-handed. This guy's a total fraud. Recording now, let's go Reddit. Troy saw the chat but pretended not to. He quickly closed the tab, reopened his pre-recorded trading layout, and faked a connection issue. But it was too late. The damage was done. Screen recordings spread like wildfire. Reddit threads popped up within the hour. Discord groups circulated the clip like gossip gold. The next 48 hours were brutal. Someone dug up his LLC filings. He had registered 6 different companies, all selling courses or trading products. An ex-customer posted proof that his mentorship consisted of 5 PDF slides and a recycled YouTube playlist. Instagram meme pages tore him apart with side-by-side comparisons of his demo screenshots and real account. Refund requests poured in. Stripe froze his merchant account. His PayPal got flagged. He lost access to his email marketing list. And his biggest nightmare came true. His apartment management company sent an eviction notice over 3 months of unpaid rent. He tried to hold on, posted a weak apology. To those I let down, I'm going through something personal. Appreciate the support while I take a break to get right. But nobody bought it. Even his closest trading bros ghosted him. His old business partners stopped replying. His phone rang less, then not at all. By Monday, his Instagram was gone. Whether deleted or mass reported, no one knew. And just like that, the empire of Troy Delgado, the Instagram FX guru, collapsed into silence. No farewell post, no dramatic goodbye, just digital dust. He spent the next 3 weeks locked inside his apartment. No internet, no phone, just shame, hunger, and the crushing weight of exposure. He didn't eat much. He didn't sleep much. He didn't cry, not because he didn't feel anything, but because he didn't know what to feel. Everything he'd built, fake or not, was gone. But somewhere in that hollow quiet, something unexpected began to stir.
Not regret, not anger, not even fear, but curiosity. He started to miss the charts. Not the clout, not the hype, not the dopamine, just the charts. The candles, the clean movement, the way the market spoke without saying anything. He started wondering what it might feel like to really understand them, to trade without screenshots, to risk without lying, to build without selling dreams. That seed, born from the wreckage of his ego, was the first real thing Troy had felt in years. He didn't know it yet, but he was about to start again, from zero, from truth.
Chapter 4: Rock Bottom. There's a kind of silence that only comes when your name vanishes from people's mouths, when your DMs dry up, when nobody's watching anymore, when the buzz fades, and all that's left is you, the mess you made, and the question you can't stop asking. Who am I now that the show's over? For Troy Delgado, rock bottom wasn't a single moment. It was a slow burn. He didn't lose everything in one night. He lost it minute by minute, hour by hour, scrolling through forums dragging his name, watching his student group chats turn into roast sessions, seeing his Stripe account labeled high-risk vendor. And then came the bills. He owed nearly $14,000 in refunds. His credit cards were frozen. His rent was overdue by 90 days. His brand deals disappeared. The Miami skyline he once posed in front of now loomed like a joke, a reminder that everything glittering can become a cage. He pawned his camera equipment, sold his iPad, canceled his lease and moved out with nothing but a duffel bag and his laptop. A cousin in Hialeah let him crash on a worn-out couch. No AC, one shared bathroom, Wi-Fi that dropped every 5 minutes. From influencer to invisible in less than a month. But the most painful part wasn't poverty. It was identity. Troy had spent years as the guy, the one with the tips, the confidence, the fans. Now he had none of it, and he was forced to face a question he'd never dared answer honestly. Do I actually want to be a trader or just look like one? One night, unable to sleep, Troy opened his laptop. The desktop background still showed a Lamborghini he never drove. He deleted it, opened TradingView, pulled up a naked Euro-USD chart, and just stared. For the first time, there were no thoughts about likes, content, or strategy sales. Just price, moving, quietly, almost elegantly. He didn't try to analyze, didn't mark zones, didn't hunt for a signal. He just watched for hours, and something shifted. Not dramatically, not like a movie, but quietly, like fog lifting. It hit him. I never respected this. I marketed it, I used it, but I never respected it. That night, he downloaded an old PDF, a 2009 blog post called 12 Steps to Trading Discipline. He'd seen it years ago and ignored it. Now he read every word, twice. He started keeping notes again, but not for content, for himself. Candlestick patterns, session overlaps, reaction zones, volume spikes. Basic stuff, but for once he treated it like a craft. 2 days later, Troy applied for a warehouse job, night shifts at a logistics hub near the airport, packing boxes, minimum wage, zero glamour. But it gave him two things, time and humility. He worked 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., came home exhausted, slept 5 hours, then spent 2 more just watching charts. He didn't trade, didn't demo, didn't even simulate, just watched. He printed out 3 price action books from a Forex Factory thread and bound them like textbooks. And for the first time in his life, he was actually learning. Not to sell, not to signal, but to see. In those long, quiet weeks, Troy realized something he wished someone had told him years ago. There is no edge without respect, no progress without patience, no skill with suffering. He wasn't trying to get back, he was trying to become. Not the trader the internet wanted, the trader he should have been from the beginning. And that meant starting where most people quit, the foundation.
Chapter 5. The Restart. Troy didn't return to trading. He entered it for the first time. There's a difference. Before, it was all mimicry, screenshots, buzzwords, hype. Now, it was structure, routine, solitude. His first move? He opened a new demo account, but not the flashy kind with $50,000 fake balances. $1,000. That was all he'd allow himself to simulate. A real-world constraint, not a fantasy playground. He selected one pair, EU-USD, one time frame, H1, one goal, survive 100 trades without breaking his own rules. He created a checklist on a yellow legal pad, 15 rules. Each entry had to meet at least 10 of them, or he wasn't allowed to press buy or sell. Rules like, candle must close above or below structure. Entry only within London or New York session. No more than 1% simulated risk per trade. Minimum 1 to 2 risk-reward ratio. Journal every trade before taking the next. He didn't try to scalp, didn't chase news. He wasn't a guru anymore, just a warehouse guy learning a skill like plumbing or carpentry. He'd sit in the storage break room at 2:30 a.m., a peanut butter sandwich in one hand, trade journal in the other. One page per trade. What did I see? What did I feel? What happened next? It was brutally slow. And for once, that was the point. No drama. No epic flip goals. He didn't care if it took 2 years. He just wanted to stop lying to himself. Around trade number 46, something clicked. He recognized a pattern in his entries, not just in the charts, but in his mind. He'd enter too early when he felt anxious, hesitate on clear setups when he just had a losing streak, move stops too tight when trying to force a win. The charts were mirrors, and he started seeing his psychology inside the candles. That's when he made his first post-it mantra. My job isn't to win. My job is to execute perfectly and let probability pay me. It wasn't a quote from a trading course. It was the first true sentence he'd ever written about the markets. By demo trade 100, his win rate was 48%. His risk-reward average was 1 to 2.6. His simulated equity curve was steady. Not sexy, not explosive, but stable. More importantly, he hadn't broken a single rule. For a man who once lived off hype and illusion, that was the greatest win he'd ever had. So he did something radical. He opened a live account. Real money. Not thousands, just $1,000. Enough to sting, not enough to destroy. And he approached it the same way he did the demo. Slowly, clinically, with reverence. He took exactly 2 trades that month. 1 break even, 1 winner. That was it. But he felt something new, something precious. Control. Not over the market, but over himself. He realized most traders weren't losing because of indicators, brokers, or spreads. They were losing because they never trained their emotions to sit still. Troy began reading books on stoicism, meditating 10 minutes before charting, walking outside after each trade, win or lose, just to remind himself the world was bigger than any candle. He started using Notion to journal his trades. He didn't record profits. He recorded decisions. Outcomes were secondary. Every Friday night, instead of partying, he wrote a letter to himself. This week, I followed 4 out of 5 of my rules. Trade 2 was emotionally driven. I felt rushed. Next week, remove urgency. Trust the zone. No screenshots. No Telegram group flexing. Just a man slowly rebuilding truth inside himself. He'd been a guru before. Now, he was becoming a trader.
Chapter 6. The Comeback. In Silence. Comebacks are rarely cinematic. They're not set to music. They don't come with applause. They come with laundry piles, sore backs, and Excel sheets filled with doubt.
Troy's comeback began on a folding chair in a studio apartment with a second-hand monitor propped up by books on how to trade support and resistance. He had $1,000 in a live Forex account, a night job, no followers, no promises to anyone, and it was the best position he'd ever been in. Why? Because this time there was no mask, no pretending, no pressure to impress anyone. It was just him and the market. Finally, he structured his trading week like a military schedule. Sunday night, chart preparation, weekly bias, zone identification. Monday to Friday, one setup per day max. If nothing aligned, no trade. Saturday, trade review, psychological journaling, system testing. He traded only Euro USD and GBP USD. Nothing exotic, nothing trendy. 1 hour chart, 4 hour zones, daily structure. He set alarms for the London Open, not to jump in, but to observe. His new strategy was built around 3 key elements. High probability rejection zones based on recent liquidity sweeps and fakeouts. Candle confirmation, not just wicks, but volume shifts and engulfing behavior. Micro-level patience, entering only after all signals aligned and never mid-candle. His entry rules were so specific, they read more like a pilot's pre-flight checklist than a trading plan. Price must have swept liquidity in the past 12 hours. Candle must close outside key level and retrace 25% of its body. Entry only during high-volume session overlaps, London, NY. No trade on red news days unless bias aligns. RR minimum 1 to 2.5. He even wrote a sticky note and taped it to the top of his monitor. If you hesitate, skip it. If you're hoping, skip it. If you're excited, skip it. That wasn't advice from a course. That was Troy learning who he was. And slowly, it worked. Month 1, $1,000 to $1,180. Month 2, $1,180 to $1,600. Month 3, $1,600 to $2,050. It wasn't magic. It wasn't exponential. It was stable. Something he'd never known before. For the first time in his life, he wasn't obsessed with growth. He was obsessed with not breaking his own rules. That was the new win condition. He journaled every trade. He tracked drawdowns. He printed out losing setups and taped them to his closet like reminders from war. He joined a low-key Discord server of price action traders. No hype, no affiliate links, just serious people refining their systems. He never mentioned his past. He didn't even use his real name. In that group, he was just TroyFX_94, a quiet trader who asked good questions, gave solid feedback, and never bragged. One day, someone asked him what prop firm he used. Troy said nothing. He didn't use any, yet. But that night, he thought, maybe it's time. He'd spent 18 months rebuilding his discipline, passed multiple demo backtests, had a 52% win rate with 1 to 3 average RR, max drawdown over 12 months, just 6%. He knew he was ready, not for glory, but for responsibility. So he picked a firm, paid for the challenge out of his own pocket, and started trading like a man who had nothing to prove, only a process to follow.
Chapter 7. The Funded Test. Prop firm challenges are where most traders go to die. Not because the market is unfair, but because their mindset is. They chase the 8% target like a dog chasing a car, forgetting that one bad trade can end it all, that rules mean nothing if pressure isn't managed. Troy knew this. So when he signed up for his first funded account challenge in late 2022, he didn't approach it like a trial. He approached it like a job interview for a role he'd been training 2 years to deserve. The challenge: make 8% profit in 30 days, maximum 5% daily loss, 10% total drawdown, minimum 10 trading days. Most people blow it trying to do too much. Troy made a different decision. He would not trade the first 3 days. Why? Because he wanted to study the live feed, measure spreads, watch price delivery, test order execution. While other traders were rushing in, Troy was scouting the battlefield. On day 4, he saw it.
EUUSD broke above a weekly supply zone on false volume, swept early breakout traders, and then printed a strong bearish engulfing candle into an H1 imbalance. He marked it, waited for a retest, placed his stop 9 pips above the wick, targeted a 27 pip drop to the last clean demand. It hit in 36 minutes, plus 2.5%. He walked away. That became his routine. No back-to-back trades. Minimum 1 full calendar day between trades. A loss meant a 48-hour break, no exceptions. Journaling came before celebration. By day 17, he had 8.3% return, with only 4 trades taken. 3 winners, 1 break-even. He passed. No fireworks, no celebrations. He simply closed the laptop and walked to the kitchen to wash dishes. That night, in his journal, he wrote, "I'm not here to flip accounts. I'm here to prove that patience pays rent." The firm emailed him a contract the next morning. He read every line, signed it, and was now managing a $100,000 funded account, not in theory, but in practice. And yet, nothing changed. He didn't quit the warehouse job, didn't buy new gear, didn't post on social media. He just increased his discipline. Every trade on the funded account had to be logged 3 times. Before entry, pre-trade bias and emotional state. After entry, reason for taking the trade. Post-exit, lessons, flaws, what went well. Within 3 months, he'd grown the funded account by 11%, pocketing a $5,500 profit split after fees. He didn't spend it. He added it to savings. He was building a foundation, not a flex. And he knew this was only the beginning. The real challenge wasn't passing the evaluation. The real challenge was trading like a funded professional when nobody is watching. That meant fewer trades, stricter rules, and a commitment to consistency over excitement. But something was stirring again, not in the charts, in him. A quiet confidence, not arrogance, not revenge, just clarity. The clarity of a man who had finally stopped pretending.
Chapter 8. The Real Account. Passing a prop challenge feels like winning. Managing a live funded account feels like survival. For Troy, there was no room for ego anymore. The numbers were real. The risk was real. The pressure was real. He was now managing $100,000, but he treated every trade like it was still coming from his last $50, because in his mind, it was. This account wasn't a ticket to freedom. It was proof that he could finally do what he once only pretended to. And it came with rules. Not the prop firm's rules, his. His daily ritual became sacred. Wake at 5:30 a.m. Stretch, meditate. Open charts only after breakfast. Review weekly bias, key levels, potential traps. Journal 1 sentence. Do I need to trade today? Most days, the answer was no. Troy was a sniper, not a soldier spraying bullets. If the market wasn't clean, if the volume was off, if the session was slow, he simply waited. By April 2023, he had taken only 19 trades on the funded account. 13 wins, 4 break-even, 2 losses. Net return plus 13.4%. His profit share for Q2, $8,040. He didn't tell a soul. He paid off lingering debts. Then, he did something even crazier in a world obsessed with growth. He withdrew and paused. Why? Because he felt greed creeping back in. He noticed himself starting to daydream about, what if I double the lot size? He knew that voice. That voice was the beginning of the end in his past life. So he stepped back. For 6 weeks, he didn't trade at all. Instead, he reread his own journals, page by page, mistake by mistake, win by win. He studied himself the way he used to study fake gurus. He asked brutal questions. Did I trade because the market gave me an edge, or because I felt left behind? Was that setup clean or just convenient? Am I bored, or is this just the price of real discipline?
That pause wasn't weakness. It was recalibration. When he returned in late May, he downsized, not the account, but his exposure. He dropped from 1% risk per trade to 0.5%. Why? Because he realized, I don't need more. I need to survive longer. And that single shift made all the difference. His stress dropped, his patience returned, his consistency locked in. In July, the firm offered him a second funded account, another $100,000. He accepted, but told himself he wouldn't increase his lifestyle even if his payouts doubled. He wanted peace more than profits. By August, Troy was managing $200K and had collected $24,000 in total payouts. But the best part? No one knew. No Instagram, no Telegram group, no rented penthouse, just one Notion dashboard, a whiteboard with levels, and a Trader Sync account with 0 red months. He walked through the grocery store like a normal guy, because he was one. Except now, he was a profitable normal guy who didn't have to fake anything anymore. The silence wasn't empty. It was earned.
Chapter 9. The Final Post. It had been 4 years since Troy Delgado had disappeared from Instagram. 4 years since the screenshots, the exposés, the refund requests, the crash. 4 years of silence, anonymity, trading in the shadows. He didn't miss the attention, but he did feel something stirring inside him. Not pride, not ego, but closure. One morning in October 2024, Troy opened a blank Instagram account. No profile picture, no bio, 0 followers. He sat at his desk, staring at the blinking cursor. He didn't want to post another chart. He didn't want to prove anything. He just wanted to tell the truth, once. He typed slowly, pausing after every line. What came out wasn't strategy, wasn't advice, wasn't inspiration. It was a confession. I lied to thousands. Then I got humbled. Now I trade quietly, profit slowly, and tell no one what to do. I'm not a guru. I'm a survivor. And I'm still learning. He hit post, turned off the phone, went to the kitchen, made coffee. When he checked 3 hours later, the post had gone semi-viral in a way that didn't feel toxic. There were no fire emojis, no DMs asking for signals, just messages like, respect, I needed this, finally, someone being real. He closed the app and didn't post again. That was enough. He hadn't re-entered the scene. He'd buried the old one. Troy began journaling again that night, not about price action, but about identity. He wrote, I spent 3 years faking who I wanted to be. Then I spent 3 years quietly becoming who I needed to be. The contrast was poetic. His first rise had been built on illusion. His second on obsession, silence, and truth. He didn't feel like a star. He felt like a student. Always one mistake away from humility. Always one impulse away from blowing everything again. He no longer feared that. He respected it. That's what made him different now. Not the profits, not the discipline, not the funded accounts, but the awareness of what had broken him and what had rebuilt him. Every day, he walked into his small apartment office, booted up the charts, and whispered before he clicked, "You don't owe me anything. Let me earn it again." He wasn't just trading anymore. He was atoning, quietly, carefully, consistently. Final chapter, The Quiet Philosophy. By late 2024, Troy Delgado had finally found what no amount of social media fame ever gave him: peace. Not the kind you flex on Instagram, not the kind you buy with payouts, but the kind that settles in your bones when you faced your demons and lived to trade another day. He still had losing trades. He still had days when the market made no sense. But the panic was gone. The addiction to validation, dead. The identity crisis, buried. He had become what every serious trader secretly dreams of becoming:
a ghost who makes money in silence. His daily life was monk-like. Charts open for 2 hours a day, max. No Discord groups, no YouTube comments, no community noise. Journaling every trade by hand, not for performance, but for truth. Walks without his phone. Coffee alone. Meditation, not motivation. When a friend asked him why he didn't start another mentorship or trading course, Troy smiled and said, "Because the truth doesn't scale." He meant it. He knew now that the real work of becoming a trader happens in the dark. Not on Reels, not on webinars, and definitely not in overpriced Zoom calls. His edge wasn't technical. It was emotional clarity. He said, "There's no holy grail. There's only you, a chart, and your ability to stay out of your own damn way." The markets were ruthless, but they were also fair. Brutally, cosmically fair. And that fairness is what humbled him, then rebuilt him. Troy's philosophy was simple now. 1. Trade like no one is watching, because no one should be. 2. Never seek revenge against the market or yourself. Losses are tuition, not punishments. 3. If you're excited, you're probably wrong. Emotional spikes are trade killers. 4. If you wouldn't explain this trade to a 10-year-old, don't take it. Clarity over complexity. 5. The more you want to be a trader, the less likely you'll become one. Detach from the identity. Focus on the craft. When asked in a rare podcast appearance what advice he had for the next generation of traders, Troy didn't talk about backtests, brokers, or setups. He paused, exhaled, then said, "If you're more interested in sharing your success than surviving your losses, you're already done." He leaned into the mic and added one last line, almost a whisper. "Trade small, stay long, die humble." And with that, the episode ended. So here's the final word from this chapter of Forex Success Story. If Troy Delgado, a man who built a fake empire, lost everything, and rebuilt from zero in silence, can find clarity through the noise, so can you. But it won't come through shortcuts. It won't come through followers, and definitely not through pretending. It comes from humility, discipline, and the willingness to bleed in private until your edge is real. Thanks for listening to Forex Success Story. If this episode brought you value, share it with someone still faking it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where the winners aren't loud, they're consistent. Until next time, stay focused, stay patient, and whatever you do, don't trade for applause. Trade for survival.